Hi, this is Tim Bost, editor of FinancialCyclesWeekly.com, and I wanted to take a moment to share with you some information on Goldman Sachs. This is a stock that is entering a very sensitive area in the coming weeks, and we want to be aware of this as a potential trading situation that could prove to be profitable if we end up on the right side of the trade. So what I wanted to do was review with you some information that I first shared back at the end of February. At that time, I was interviewed and we talked about Goldman with some factors coming up that indicated that in the middle to late part of April, Goldman would be facing a very strong pressure point from an astrological perspective that could impact the stock in some very serious ways. So we have that time frame just ahead of us right now, and that's what we want to take a look at today. Now, back at the end of February, what we did was review the first trade horoscope for Goldman, and what we have pictured here is a double wheel. The inner ring is the first trade horoscope for the company, which began trading on the New York Stock Exchange back in 1999 as a publicly traded company. And the outer ring is the planetary positions for the Mercury retrograde station coming up on April 18th. Now, this is a challenging time for anyone involved in communications and in transportation and business in general. It can impact stocks in a lot of ways, but what is interesting here is that we have a very particular lineup with the planets that impact the Goldman chart in a specific way. Now, when we look at this Mercury retrograde station over on the left in the turquoise zone there, we have the planet Mercury at 12 degrees of Taurus. It lines up right on top of the Sun in the Goldman first trade horoscope, suggesting that this particular Mercury retrograde station will have a specific impact on the chart for Goldman and potentially the future of the stock as well. We note as well with the blue circle here that Jupiter is lining up on the midheaven of the first trade horoscope at this particular time, and when we have Jupiter in this kind of alignment, what it does is typically coincide with a high in stock prices. So we would expect the prices to come down fairly sharply immediately after this particular planetary lineup. And in fact, Jupiter here, just a couple of degrees away from the midheaven in the first trade horoscope, may bring a time in which we have the stock heading lower. When it hits a high, of course, the only direction to go is back down. And in addition to that, the red line indicates transiting Mars forming a tight square, a 90-degree angle to Saturn in the first trade horoscope, indicating that we'll have an activation of restrictive forces which may in fact help force the price of this stock back down. And that's what we're concerned about as we examine this first trade chart and the Mercury station coming up on April 18th. So based on these planetary configurations then, what we did was project back at the end of February this particular trading chart for Goldman, and we've put in Jupiter and Mars planetary price lines since both of them seem to be impacting things rather sharply, as well as the Mercury at the time of the Mercury station. And what we've done is projected these planetary price lines and mirrored them so that we have a grid-like pattern over the trading bars for Goldman. These are daily bars, and we identified at that point this time frame from April 16th to 26th in which we have a cluster of planetary dynamics coming together, and this highlights this specific price range between $163 and $167.50, and we would expect the price of Goldman to be attracted magnetically to that area around around that particular time frame. So that's what we're looking at. This is what we've identified as this potential danger zone. Now, if the price should go higher than this range prior to that time, we would look for it to be confined within this particular diamond pattern on the price grid in order to confirm our analysis. If it trades outside of that range, then obviously we're pretty far afield with our analysis. But we could approach this either from below or above and still have this particular price zone in effect for late April. Now, of course, since that time, we've had a little bit more trading in Goldman, and here is what has happened since that time. Of course, Goldman has moved up fairly dramatically. We note that it tracked this Mars line to the downside here briefly in March when it had a brief pullback. Right now, it's advancing again as we move into early April, but it's staying within this particular diamond zone that we looked at before, suggesting that this danger zone activation area between 163 167.50 is still applicable for late April. And of course, since the stock is trading above that point right now, what we're looking for is for it to head back down into this price zone as we reach the closing days of April. If that proves to be the case, of course, we have a very nice position here for a short trade. Now, as with any kind of astrological indicator or any other kind of market indicator, we don't base a trade on one set of signals alone, and past performance is, of course, no guarantee of future results, but we want to take particular care to pay attention to the astrological dynamics at work, because this stock has a lot of potential, I think, on the downside right now, given the way that these factors come together. And this particular clustering of planetary lines indicates a potential price point for this stock. So this is how we're doing our astrological analysis of Goldman Sachs right now. We are looking for a move to the downside. And if you find this interesting and want to look at other examples of astro trading techniques at work, I would encourage you to get our free astro trading video. You can look at some detail as to how we derive planetary price lines from an analysis of the relevant horoscopes with the company, how we put all of this together to develop a comprehensive astro trading strategy that proves to be profitable in the markets very, very consistently. You'll find this at http://tinyurl.com/astrotrader, and take a look, connect with the download there with the astro trading video, and I think you'll find it very, very illuminating. Thanks for watching. This is Tim Bost with FinancialCyclesWeekly.com.